Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I am the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part 3 of our 5-part series for members and new members or people that are just logging into BNI Connect for the first time. Earlier this week on Tuesday, we talked about how to set up your profile. Then yesterday, we talked about how to use the online slips to pass referrals and record one-to-ones and things like that. Today, we're going to take a look at the social media portion of BNI Connect, the way that we really use the system to reach out to other members around the world in order to really use this as a global networking tool. Next week, we're going to be talking about a couple of other things, the last 2 parts of our series on Tuesday next week, we're going to talk about member tools and reports. So we're going to take a deeper dive into the system and take a look at, different features in BNI Connect that you can use to enhance your membership, like how to dig some of the statistics out of the system and whatnot. And then on Wednesday next week, we're going to step through the entire visitor process. So there's a lot of ways that BNI Connect can help you to invite visitors and actually get more visitors to show up to the meetings. So that said, let's do a couple of housekeeping things before we get started with today's content. Firstly, if you're here with me today, this is a live webinar. So that means you get the privilege and honor of asking questions. Ask me any question you'd like to. The only silly question is the unasked question. Now it can be about the social media side of BNI Connect. It could be about really anything that you would like to know more about in the system. I'd be happy to answer those questions. Now, the content portion of this is going to be about a half hour, about 25 minutes to a half hour. We try to keep these short and sweet and make sure that you can get back on with your busy days. But that said, after we're done with that part of it, I'm always happy to stay on these calls until every single one of your questions has been answered. As I'm fond of saying, this is what I do all day, every day. We answer questions about BNI Connect and help people navigate the system. So I'm just as happy to do that live as I am via email. You can always reach us at support@bniconnect.com as well. We are recording this webinar as we do all of our webinars. They're made available on the support site. You access that by clicking this question mark in the upper right-hand corner. You can also get to our videos by going to YouTube, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. All right, enough of that housekeeping stuff. Let's get started with today's content. And again, we're going to talk about the networking side of BNI Connect. So first things first, before we even start looking through the system and finding other people around the world, keep in mind that people may also be trying to find you. So it is really, really important that before you start reaching out to people that you go in and get your profile filled out. Now, I'm not going to go deep into this because we talked about this on Tuesday's webinar and you can go catch the recording, but very, very quickly to update your profile, on the home screen, just click Update Profile. It's as easy as that. Click Update Profile. When you get there, all you're going to do is just go through all of these tabs and fill out all the information. Most importantly, on this first page, make sure you get your My Business and keywords filled out. On the second page, make sure that you've uploaded a photo. Make sure that you upload a company logo. Fill out all of your contact details here and social media links. Now, when we're talking about this part of it, we're going to start talking about connections. I just want to take 1 second on this page, the account settings. Right here, this top section, this controls what information you're sharing immediately or after somebody connects with you when they find your profile in BNI Connect. So again, this is an important piece for what you would like to share with people when they find you in BNI Connect. So my personal preference is, BNI Connect is a closed system, so you do have to have a username and password, and you have to be an active BNI member to log in. So my personal preference is that I set this all to all, which means that as soon as somebody finds me in the search, they will be able to see my email address, for example. They will be able to see all of my contact details. Now, to me, I think that that's kind of important because, as you'll see in a minute, when we find people, a lot of times when people are searching for you, they're searching for somebody to actually refer business to or to fulfill a service. So we don't really want to wait until they send a connection request and you accept the connection request, and then finally you log back in. Now you can see those details. A lot of times, they want to get that phone number or that email address right away to get in touch with you. So my personal opinion is that I do share this information with everybody. But of course, depending on your preference, you can make that My Connections or None. And of course, make sure you click the Update button. All right, so enough about that. Let's go back to the home page here. So the social media side of BNI Connect, we have our My BNI Business here, which is really our nuts and bolts of everyday use. We have our revenue and our thank you for closed business and our referrals and all of that, the statistical information here. On the left-hand side, you'll notice that you have this red ribbon thing. If you go to the next one down, that'll take you to My Network. And this is really the bulk of the various kind of networking components here in BNI and in BNI Connect. So you can see here we have a bunch of different tiles here. We have connections. So connections are really, this is our personal address book in BNI. So as you meet people or as you search for people, very similar to LinkedIn, you can send them a connection request. So once you get connected with them, we will keep all of those connections in your own little personal BNI black book, if you will, and that is the connections interface. So by default, nobody's alone. You'll start out with all of the other members in your chapter. Those ones are going to be managed for you automatically. So as members join the chapter, you'll be automatically connected to them. As they leave the chapter, you'll be automatically disconnected from them. But you can search for and connect with any BNI person anywhere in the world using these connections, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. The next tile over that we have here is the groups functionality. So the groups are our way to really talk with other BNI people around the world. It's kind of like this giant one-to-one or group dance card that's happening all the time in BNI Connect. So, there's a couple of very, very active groups in there. For example, there's a group that Dr. Meisner runs called From the Founder, that whenever he has a new blog or whenever he's, sharing other information, he actually posts it into that group. And people within the group have various discussions. So a great way to network with other people around the world is through the groups interface. The next section over is documents. So the documents section has regionally shared documents. So these are things that your executive director is sharing with various people in your area. So you may see that I have a bunch of documents here. You probably won't see those same documents. They're going to be different documents for different areas. But they'll put things up there like visitor sign-in sheets. You can see here, I've actually uploaded something for, you should be able to see it if you're in the United States, the visitor process that we're going to be going over in the webinar next week. So all of that is there in the documents. There's other things like education moments, for example. All right, going down to the bottom row here, the next thing is testimonials. You have the ability to give a testimonial to anybody that you're connected with. You do have to be connected with somebody in order to give them a testimonial. And other people that are connected with you can give you testimonials. The next thing here is events. So you can sign up for things like member success programs. You can see the BNI Connect webinars are all listed there in the events section as well. So different opportunities that are local to you for both networking and for learning are listed there in the events. And then finally here we have messages, and the messages are it's an internal messaging system for you and your connections. So it's a way to just send, quick messages. That's not a full email program or anything like that. And it's also not an email my chapter function, by the way. It is between everybody that you're connected with. So the other thing about that is that, by default, you have to be logged into BNI Connect to see those messages, although you can get them forwarded in your preferences to go to your regular email. All right, so first things first, let's take a look at these connections. So if I go into connections and I go to manage, I can also at any time go to network up at the top. Oops, screen switched on me there. If I go to network connections, this will take me to the same place. And you'll see here that this is really, it's kind of my address book. I'm connected to about 500 people right now that I've met throughout BNI, or maybe they've been on a webinar, or maybe I met them at a conference. And I can look up, for example, somebody's information. So let's say Claire Sherman. She works in headquarters, but this gives me all her contact information, any things that it's kind of like a very brief version of the profile. If I wanted to send her a message, I could do that. If I wanted to ask her for a testimonial or give her a testimonial, I could also go and click this button to view her complete profile. This will take me to the full BNI Connect profile, which is why you also want to make sure that you have your profile filled out, because as people find you in BNI, they will be reviewing all of this information. So, your bio and your people that you're connected with and any testimonials people have given you. There is a photo sharing library, any groups, and any training. So those are all different things that you can share on your profile. Let me go back to the connections. Now, people that are in your chapter, by the way, so let me just see somebody from my chapter real quick. I have to get through quite a few people here. Brad Asher is in my chapter. And so you can see with Brad, the one thing I don't have with Brad is the ability to remove him from my connections. So if you recall, these ones, the people from your chapter, you'll automatically have those people in your address book. All right, so if I wanted to find somebody and connect with them in BNI Connect, the way to do that is if you're in My Connections, click on Add Connection. Or if you're anywhere else in BNI Connect, up in the header here, there is this magnifying glass. This, or clicking Add Connection, this will bring you to the BNI Global Directory. This is essentially our BNI white pages. So every single person in BNI is in this directory here. So, the easiest thing to do is you can always just look for somebody by name. So, for example, I just look up myself based on my name. And there's actually two records here. This is my my real account. So if I click on my account here, this will bring me to my profile and all the information that we're sharing. Again, go through all the different tabs. Now, by the way, if you have not done anything at all to your profile, this is what you will look like to other people. And I can tell you for a fact that I use BNI Connect all the time, obviously, but like my company does manage services and stuff like that. We have some clients that have offices that are in multiple states. So like their headquarters is here in Rhode Island, but they have another office in Florida and another office in Virginia, for example. So while we can support most of that remotely, there's a lot of times when, let's say that they spill a can of soda on their laptop. Well, that's not something we can fix over the internet. So what I'll do is I'll come to BNI Connect and I'll say, computer repair in Virginia. And this is something that I've done quite a few times because, in my opinion, I want to keep the business kind of local to our BNI family as much as I possibly can, because I know that every BNI chapter around the world is following the same agenda. We all have a membership committee. We all hold ourselves to higher standards than somebody like Yelp or Angie's List or Google, we can trust BNI members a little bit more. So what I'll do is I'll do a search like this to go and try to find somebody. Here's this dozen or so people that are in the computer business, and I'll just start going through their profiles. And, this is a great profile. I would give this guy a call. There's other times, and again, I didn't, screen this ahead of time or anything, but like here's Dale. A decent profile, right? He's got his picture up there, what he does, but he's not sharing his contact information. So I have a choice right now. Do I go to his website and try to find his phone number or his email address or whatever? Do I add him to my connections, wait for him to accept my connection request, and then he's sharing his phone number with me? Or do I just, close this out and move on to the next person? And I can tell you that the majority of the time, if somebody finds you and you're not sharing that information, they have already closed that tab and moved on to the next person. But that said, let's say that you find somebody that you do want to connect with and get them into your kind of address book permanently. What you do is you click on Add to My Connections. That will send them a connection request. And once they accept it, it will add them to your connection. Now you can customize this message if you want to before you hit send, and let them know how you know them and or why you're interested in meeting them. Now, by the way, you are welcome to connect with me. Just do a search. You can do a search. You can find my name, and I'd be happy to connect with you. Once you start these connections, I'm going to go back to my connections interface here. Once people start sending you connection requests, you will see them back in this connections. You do have to, it's an opt-in, so you do have to accept your connection. So if I go to received requests, I can see here I have a connection request from Sam. I can just go in and accept it, ignore it, or reject it. If I accept it, it will put him into my connections. If I reject it, it will not put him in my connections. However, if I ignore it, by the way, if you ignore it, it will actually not allow them to ever send you another connection request. So be really careful with that ignore button. I can also click on read message and see what he said. So Sam was on my webinar a couple of weeks ago. And from here, I could then accept it or ignore it or reject it. If I'm not sure who Sam was, I want to check out his profile first. I could also click on his graphic there and be brought out to his profile. And it looks like he's got a great profile here. He's even got a video that he's sharing in his My Business. It's awesome. So I can go ahead and click accept. If you had a whole bunch of these, you could also do select all and connect with all of those people with just a single click there. All right, and now he will be here. My connections have gone up to 553 now. And that's about all there is. That's it with connections. So by the way, on the search, when you're searching for people, I'm going to go back to the search real quick. When you're searching for people, it is going to search. There's some tips down here, but it is going to search against their, their keywords and their categories and stuff like that. But there's also an advanced search here in the upper right where you can search against specific fields. So if you, let's say, are just looking for people in, Australia, it will only return 250 results, by the way, at a time. So you may have to narrow it down a little bit more. But let's say I wanted just people that are in, transportation in Australia. Maybe I'm taking a trip there and I'd like to have somebody help me out with some tours or help me out with, the shuttle bus. So you can look up people that way as well. So it's a great way to kind of refine your search on a more granular level. All right, now the other thing we can do with our connections is we can give testimonials. So on any of your connections, you should see an option that allows you to give that person a testimonial. And really, that's all there is to it. You click on it, you can write a nice testimonial for them and say something nice about them. That testimonial will then appear on their profile inside BNI Connect. If you'd like to review testimonials that you've given and received, you can go into this Testimonials button at the top or go to Network Testimonials. And much like the Connections interface, this is now giving us our list of testimonials received. So I could go in and I could review a testimonial that somebody had given me. I could delete that testimonial. I could also choose to just hide that testimonial from my profile. I can also review any testimonials that I've given to other people over the years. And if people have requested a testimonial of me, I can respond to that request here. All right, and that's the testimonials. Again, it's very similar to the Connections interface. All right, the last thing I want to show you guys today has to do with the groups in BNI Connect. And as I said before, this is really our way to have conversations with other BNI members around the world. Now, we can go back here and we can go to the Groups function. We can go to Manage, or of course, we can always just go to Network Groups. Now, in the groups, you'll see that there are quite a few groups here. So we have about 519 active groups in BNI Connect, and they are on all sorts of topics all over the place. Some of them are professional topics where we're talking about your specific business, or some people are looking for clients or looking to establish referral relationships. Some people are just looking to pass advice about their particular industry, and others are more general in nature. I know there's a group in here for network growth coordinators. So a lot of chapters have a growth coordinator, but there's not a whole lot of documentation behind that position and what they should be doing. So it's a way for them to share ideas on what they're successfully doing to grow their chapters. By default, it's going to be ordered by most recent, but you can go through, you can look through them. You can go page by page. It would take a while to go through all of the pages here. You could also do a search. Like, let's say I'd like to do a search for all of the Dr. Meisner groups. So this returns to us, there's actually 4 groups by Dr. Meisner, the From the Founder, Why BNI. There is a BNI Foundation by his wife Beth, and then there's actually a private group for the International Board of Advisors. But if I was to say, let's say, click on the From the Founder group, we can see all of the different topics. This is a very active and lively group. And if we look at the participants, if you're having a discussion and you'd like to connect with one of the participants, you can always look in here. This is going to take a second because I think last time I checked there was over 3,000 participants in here. But you can go check out the profile of anybody that's in that group. And let's see how many participants this one is up to. Yep, this one is up to nearly 4,000 participants with 283 discussion topics and about 1,500 messages that have been sent through this group. Now, the other thing you can do if you'd like to is you can create your own group. You just got to give it a name and what type of group it's going to be, give it a description, and then you can also invite any of your connections to it. You do have to be connected to somebody in order to invite them to the group, but then you can go in and start hosting a conversation and posting replies and staying on top of it. All right, so with that in mind, that is essentially the kind of the networking side of BNI Connect. We have the connections, the groups, the testimonials. You also have that messaging system and the documents and great ways to interact with other people. And honestly, it's a great way to really utilize BNI Connect as a global networking and referral resource. As I said before, this is the first time in my history as a BNI member. I've been a BNI member since 2002, so about 15 years now. And this really allows me to utilize the BNI network on a global scale, not just within my chapter, but within my state, within my region, within the country, and I have been able to make connections on a global scale as well. So with that said, again, we are at the bottom of the hour. I'd like to open this up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions about BNI Connect or social media side or anything else? Questions, comments, compliments, complaints? Happy to take them all. While you're thinking of those, just a reminder that this is being recorded. You'll be able to find that if you click on this question mark in the upper right-hand side of BNI Connect. Again, you click this question mark right here. That will take you to our support site. On the support site, you'll see live and recorded webinars, as well as a bunch of other training and documentation. You'll see our live webinars, and you'll see our recorded webinars. I will have these October series up shortly and another one, but you can review the September ones in the meantime. And a good referral for me is to please let people know about the next webinar. We're taking a couple of days, a break from webinars. We're going to be back on Tuesday, October 18th at the same time at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about the member tools and reports. So we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the system in order to play with some of the other functionality here. Let's see, Elaine says, if I'm looking for a specific profession rather than a person's name, how do I locate it easily? So the way to do that, I'm going to go to this magnifying glass search. And let's say that I'm looking, you just need to type it into the search term. So look for a plumber in Pennsylvania. Right, so it's pretty much a free form search here where you just type that in, and here it's coming back with the word plumber. So plumber, we have trades plumber. This guy trades handyman. He must have plumber in his keywords. And that, I mean, it's as easy as that. If I want to make sure that I just get certain things or certain states or certain areas, that's again where this advanced search comes in. So I can make sure that I'm just getting people, let's say within the trades with a keyword of plumber. Right, I can further refine that. Let's say there's also this other search. If you don't want to do a whole new search, there's also this refine here. So let's say I just grab the TN. This would just filter that out for anything with TN in it. So I was looking really for Tennessee, but this also happens to pull TNT and a couple of German different places that the TN might appear in this text. All right, Elaine, does that answer your question? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So again, I use this all the time to try to find people. By the way, here's kind of an advanced tip for you. There is kind of a publicly accessible version of this as well for each country anyway. So if I go to bniamerica.com, one thing I've done is I've trained my staff, because I deal with BNI Connect all day long. I'm not out there networking as much as I used to, but I train my staff to use BNI Connect on the public sites in order to search for possible referrals. So here I could find a member, And just like I did on the inside of BNI Connect as a member, anybody in the world can go to BNI America and, for example, look for computer repair in Virginia, right? And this is going to come up with, pretty much almost the same list that it comes up with on the inside of BNI Connect. The difference is that, again, this will only find people in the United States, but I could, again, the same people that there were before, Dale Beck, for example. Here he is, has his name and his contact information. Again, you can utilize this to find people in a filtered fashion just from the public websites. And then each region has their own website as well that is filtered just to that region. So hopefully that was helpful as well, Elaine. All right, do we have any other questions? Questions, comments, concerns, complaints? All right, so if there's no further questions or comments, I'd like to just thank everybody for being here today. I greatly appreciate the fact that you've taken time out of your busy lives and busy schedules to spend a little bit of it with me, learning a little bit more about BNI Connect. And if I can help in any way, please do feel free to contact us, support@bniconnect.com. We'll be happy to help out. In the meantime, I hope to see you on Tuesday. Elaine said, can I see this again? Yes, I will. I am recording this now. As soon as I can, I will upload it to the support site or to YouTube. So I'll drop that in the chat window, by the way. YouTube, our YouTube channel is youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, and all of our videos are up here. This one will be up there in the next couple of days, I hope. Otherwise, you can just check out, for example, any of the previous versions of it. For the most part, it's the same content, though we have different questions and different discussions depending on who's on the various calls. All right. Cool. On that note, thank you guys so much and have an absolutely wonderful rest of your week and a nice weekend. Happy connecting.